Who is the one man you can't stop watching? Not a man you hate, a man you admire. The one whose videos you keep going back to. Maybe it's the one who speaks and the whole room goes quiet to listen. Maybe it's the one who built the thing you keep saying you'll start one day. Maybe it's just a man you know who moves through his life like he's allowed to want things. He walks into a room and it seems to rearrange itself around him, and he doesn't even look like he's trying. Most men pass you and you feel nothing. This one, and something in your chest pulls tight. You tell yourself you're just a fan, that you admire him. But be honest, because no one is listening right now. Underneath the admiration there's an ache, low and private and almost like grief. I'm going to tell you what that ache actually is, because it's not what you think. And it's good news, even if it won't feel like good news at first. Here's a law almost no one knows. You cannot envy a quality you do not already carry. The eye only recognizes what it has already met. A man with no music in him doesn't ache at a great musician, he just hears noise. So the greatness you see in that man is greatness that is also in you. You buried it a long time ago to stay safe. That ache you've been ashamed of is a map. Tonight, I'll show you exactly where it points, and the one move that starts digging it back up. Stay with me. Last time, we looked at the man you can't stand, the one who gets under your skin for no good reason. And the answer was that he's a mirror. The thing you can't stand in him is a thing you buried in yourself. Tonight is the exact same mirror, just turned the other way. Because it doesn't only work with what you hate, it works just as hard with what you envy. When a man gets under your skin, he's showing you a dark trait you exiled. When a man makes your chest ache with admiration, he's showing you a gold one. Same mechanism. Two directions. We bury our best parts too, not just our worst. Marie-Louise von Franz, in Jung's own book Man and His Symbols, has a line for exactly this. She says that sometimes a man feels impelled to live out the worst side of his nature and to repress his better side. And in those cases, she says, the shadow appears as a positive figure. Listen to that again. The shadow isn't only the dark stuff in the basement. Sometimes the thing you locked down there is the best of you. Your confidence, your boldness, your hunger, your voice. And when you meet a man living that out loud, you don't just admire him. You ache, because you are looking at a piece of yourself that you gave away. So why would a man bury his own greatness? It sounds insane when you say it out loud. Who buries the best of himself? But you did, and you did it for a reason that made complete sense at the time. Think back. There was a version of you that was too much, too loud, too bright, too sure of himself, too hungry. A boy who put his hand up for everything, who said what he thought, who wanted things openly. And somewhere along the line, that got punished. You raised your hand one too many times and felt the room go cold. You were proud of something and got called arrogant. You wanted something badly, said it out loud, and someone laughed. Maybe it was worse than that. Maybe you shone, and a parent who never got to shine couldn't stand it and made you pay every time you did. So you were smart. You learned the lesson the room was teaching you. Being big is dangerous. Being small is safe. Being impressive gets you punished. Being agreeable gets you kept. And you reached up and turned yourself down, like a dial, so you'd be allowed to stay in the room. Joseph Campbell spent his whole life watching men do this, and he refused to soften it. Social pressure, he said, is the enemy. He watched men do what their fathers and their teachers and their friends all swore was the safe, sensible choice. And here's what he said about them. Those who did what Dad said they should do because it's safe, found out it's not safe. It's disaster. Sit with that word, disaster. Burying your gold to fit in feels like safety. It's the slowest disaster there is, because the gold doesn't go away. It can't. It just goes underground and waits. And you spend the rest of your life with a quiet ache, aching at every man who never buried his. Which is exactly why that envy is the single most useful feeling you have the moment you stop being ashamed of it. It's a map. It points straight down at the spot where your gold is buried. The man on the screen isn't your enemy, and he isn't your better. He's an X on a map, marking treasure that's yours. But most men read the map wrong. They feel the ache, they feel ashamed of it, and they do one of two things. The first is they bury it deeper and call it humility. Good for him. Not everyone can be like that. I'm happy where I am. Quiet, reasonable, and a lie, because the ache is still there at 1 a.m. The second is uglier. They turn the envy into resentment. They start tearing the man down. He's a fraud, he's lucky, he sold out, he's compensating. Every reason why his gold doesn't count. And it feels good for about a minute, because contempt is easier than longing. But both of these do the same thing. They keep your gold in the ground. They make sure you never have to go dig. There's a third way, and it's the whole move tonight. When you feel that ache toward a man, stop and do two things. First, name the exact quality. And I mean exact, not, I wish I was him. That's useless. It's too big to move on. Get specific. What is it precisely that pulls at you? Is it that he says what he actually thinks, without scanning the room first to check if it's allowed? Is it that he takes up space physically in a conversation and never apologizes for it? Is it that he goes after what he wants out in the open, where everyone can see him fail? Is it that he seems to like himself? Get it down to one quality, in plain words. Because that one quality is your buried gold. The ache is the needle on the detector, and it just went off, right over the spot. Second, and this is the part that actually changes your life, take one small action toward that exact quality. Today. Not become him. Not transform overnight. One small, real step in the direction of the thing you envy. If you envy how he says what he thinks, then say one true thing today that you'd normally swallow. To one person. If you envy how he takes up space, then take up a little more of it, in one room, once. If you envy that he chases what he wants, then admit one want out loud that you've been pretending you don't have. Small, specific. Today. Because the gold does not come back by thinking about it or by watching more videos of the man who has it. It comes back by being lived. One small rep at a time until the thing that felt like his starts to feel like yours. Now, I have to be honest with you about what's going to stop you, because you're going to nod along to all of this, and then tomorrow you're going to do nothing. And I want you to understand why, because that reason is the whole game. Taking your gold back is terrifying, more terrifying than staying small. Jung said the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Notice that. Not to accept the worst of yourself. To accept yourself completely, including the greatness. Because the moment you admit that the boldness is yours, the voice is yours, the hunger is yours, you lose your last excuse. You can't say, I'm just not that kind of man anymore, because you just admitted you are. You'd have to actually live it. And living it means walking straight back toward the exact thing you got punished for as a boy. The room might go cold again. People might call you arrogant again. Someone might laugh again. Staying small has kept you safe for 30 years. Of course you're afraid to put it down. Paulo Coelho put this as simply as anyone ever has. Everyone, he wrote, when they are young, knows what their personal legend is. The thing you're here to do. You knew it once, clearly, before you learned to be afraid. And then, he said, what people think about you became more important than your own personal legend, and you buried it to keep the peace. That ache you feel watching that man on the screen, that's not random. That's your personal legend knocking on the floorboards, reminding you it's still down there, still alive, still waiting. So men feel the call, and they refuse it. They turn it down because the small life is known and survivable, and the big one is terrifying and uncertain. And then, to feel okay about refusing, they call it being realistic. But it isn't realistic. It's just scared, wearing a sensible coat. And that man you keep watching, the one who seems built out of different material than you, he isn't. He's not special. He's not braver by nature. He just hit the same fork you did, and he didn't refuse. He kept the exact part of himself that you handed over. So, Watch what happens when you start taking the gold back, one small rep at a time. The man you've been watching gets smaller, not because he shrinks, because you stop needing him to carry your unlived life around for you. The ache fades, the same way the heat faded when you owned the dark trait last time. He turns back into what he always was, just a guy who's good at a thing. And all the energy you were spending aching at him and rehearsing his life instead of living yours comes home, and it goes into your own climb, because that's what this was always about. Not admiring him forever from down here, becoming a man who doesn't have to look up. Every single quality you envy in another man is a piece of your own greatness, out on loan, waiting for you to come and claim it. The men you envy have been holding your gold for you this whole time. You just have to go and take it back. One true thing, one small rep, one refused refusal at a time. And the climb starts the day you stop looking up at him and take the first real step toward the thing you envied, your own. So that's the bottom of the descent. For 6 episodes, we have gone down, into the anger you hid, the father who's still casting his vote, the mother who shaped how you love, the mask you built out of all of it, the men you can't stand, and now the men you envy. And one by one, we've carried the buried pieces back up into the light. The anger, owned, the grief, felt, the real face under the mask, the dark traits, taken back. And now the gold. All of it, collected back into one whole man. Bigger, steadier, harder to throw. Yours. And now the work turns outward. Because everything you just dug up, every buried trait, every wound, every projection, none of it stays private. It shows up loudest, every time, in one place, the people you try to love, and that is exactly where we go from here. If that ache finally has a name now, the free 7-day starter walks you through reading your envy as a map. Name the gold, take the small rep, every day, until it's yours. First link below. The full shadow work workbook takes you all the way down. That link's right under it. And drop one line in the comments. The thing I envy in him is the blank I buried in me. I read every single one. Next time, we turn outward to how you actually love. Why you bond the way you do, anxious or distant or steady, and the man you have to become before the right one can ever reach you. I'll see you there.